Welcome to the Meeple Syrup Show, Designers Discussing Design. We're on episode 21, and we're taking another kick at the can. We have our special co-host who always seems to show up when there's a 1 at the end of our episode. That's right, Chris Andy from our first episode, episode 11, and back again with episode 21. Chris, why don't you say hi to everyone?
Jamming on the 1. Thanks for having me, guys. It's great to be back, and I'm really looking forward to our chat tonight.
Awesome. For those of you who don't know, that was a Fresh Prince of Bel-Air reference from Chris. 100%.
Which I just also want to give a shout out now that there's a Fresh Prince reference, that Jimmy Fallon's intro for Going Out West, brilliant. I loved it.
It's fantastic.
Let's get down and dirty talking board games. We have a couple fantastic guests. We have the one, the only Darrel Louder. It's going to be confusing because there will be more than one Darrel, and I do not want to hear about my other brother Darrel.
Double the Darrel, double the fun.
And then also we have a special guest. First I will say sorry to Steve Tassie, the real Steve Tassie from Snakes and Lattes, and also the designer of many great games, including Grave Robbers of Outer Space, which you should keep an eye out for because it will be on Kickstarter soon. But unfortunately, we had some technical difficulties. However, to the rescue, we have T.C. Petty III, and we're looking forward to chatting with him. But before they join us, I'm going to pass the question that we always like to start with. Chris, what games have you been playing lately?
So I've been testing some new pack of games the last couple weeks, so that's kind of been cool to get some new stuff going. But on the published front, I've been doing this quite a bit.
Oh,
nice. Yeah, nice.
I own that, and I want to try it.
It's pretty good, you know. I think it's really balanced. There's lots of different paths to victory. There's some cool stuff going on in that game. So the artwork's great. It's got a good level of strategy and interaction, so I would check it out. That's one of my favorites lately.
Excellent. And Darrel, what have you been playing lately, or designing even?
Well, yeah, actually, it's been in kind of chaos prototype mode because very last minute it worked out for me to come to Unpub 5, which I think we might talk a little bit about later.
Just a little bit.
Just a smidge. I'm pretty excited, to say the least, but I've also been in that frantic mode that designers know of just before you go somewhere. You remember all the million little things that you need to print and cut, and so that has really consumed my mind and my body for the last 48 hours. So, how about you, Sam? What games have you been playing?
I've been playing Legendary Encounters with my son Ethan. He is not 17 years old, so I know I'm breaking the rules. The box says 17 plus.
17?
It is a pretty gory game in terms of artwork. So Ethan is really scared of ever watching the movies. He said he'll never watch them, but he really enjoyed the game. We got down. It was completely epic. Sucked the perfect specimen into the airlock. Combined there's a way you coordinate your cards together. We coordinated for exactly 10 points of damage, which is the minimum you need to kill the perfect specimen. So we finished the adventure fairly intact. We did do it in beginner mode, so we had a little extra life, but it was great. He had a really good time, and it was good for me to play that because I've been working on a lot of IP-related titles lately, so just to see how Legendary Encounters really did pay homage to the Alien series, and in fact you actually play through each of the movies. Was really nice to see that, and they did a really good job. So, which is funny because I did not enjoy Legendary itself, the Marvel superheroes version, and I like superheroes better than I like aliens. But maybe it's because I like it so much that I didn't enjoy it as much. But yeah, so we're doing a lot of work on Godzilla right now, and also on another licensed product. So. Licensing has been on my mind a lot lately. So, Legendary Encounters by Ben Chikoski, Danny Mandel, through Upper Deck Entertainment. Check it out. If you like aliens and you like cooperative games, you really, really need to try it. I really want to actually turn into an alien and play as an alien because you can do that too, which is fun.
Nice.
What's up?
Well, the other thing I should get out in the open, we did say on our last episode that we were hopefully going to have our Kickstarter started by next episode, and we clearly don't.
No.
For a couple of logical reasons. One being that we take on too much, and so, for instance, I was in Kingston and had the most horrific train experience of my life over the weekend. Anyone who follows me on Twitter or Facebook will have seen my.
We saw that.
Yeah, you're like 7 hours late or something, right?
Yeah, it was pretty insane, but it was amazing going to Kingston for the weekend. But that put us a little behind on getting our Kickstarter ready. So we're still filming our little promo video, but we're hoping to have that up very soon, maybe even just like right after Unpub or something like that. We'll have it released. But stay tuned for our Meeple Syrup Kickstarter, so we can share kind of our vision or our hopes for what awesome things we would like to cook up this summer and later this year.
Cool. So without further ado, let's bring in our guests. First, we have T.C. Petty III, who you may know through he's done Viva Java, and he's got some new stuff in the works we're hoping to talk about. And then Darrel Louder as well, who is the main guy behind Unpub, and he also did Compounded, and he's done a lot of graphics for some of the other games you might know. So let's bring these guys on. How you guys doing?
Hello.
Hello, hello.
I feel like I need like a motion entrance, like, hi. Who turned my webcam on?
Yeah. So let's just get right off and start this off on a bang. Darrel, not Darrel, other Darrel. Tell us exactly, for those of us who haven't been to Unpub yet, what is Unpub about and why should we be there?
Unpub is an organization or network of aspiring game designers or established game designers working on their next game design, and it's all prototype games, and it's open to the public. And the whole point of it is that we just play prototype games over and over, give feedback for them to help make their games better, to be the best that they can, to possibly garner publisher attention, and reach the dream of being published like we all wish that we can be. So it's not like Hollywood difficult to get your foot in the door, but with the game industry it is difficult to get your foot in the door, and so this is kind of an entryway to kind of help designers get there that aren't there. So
that sounds great. And I'll jump right to TC. What's your connection to Unpub? I hear you were recruited to help some bag stuffing and all that kind of stuff. Maybe bring us back. Tell us a little bit about your history with the event.
All right, going way back, 5 years ago, I met John Moeller, who was the original person that ran the Unpub program. And John Moeller was instrumental in kind of getting me involved. He invited me twice, and that second time worked. So I made it to the first Unpub, and I've been there for every single Unpub since then. So I've kind of mostly been working behind the scenes, but really it was Unpub that got me Viva Java signed. It gave me that confidence. I play tested a few times, both with John and Unpub itself, and that same year, got my first game published, and it was awesome, and I've been there ever since.
Yeah, I went to an Unpub event in San Jose in May, and it was at a critical time for my Pack a Game Kickstarter project, and that we were really putting final touches on some of the designs, and just the whole vibe of people coming in, they knew kind of what they were about to do when they came there. They just had an attitude of just, I'll sit down and I'll test this and I'll give you feedback. And it was really different than a lot of the conventions that I go to. There was just something about it that was very, very helpful and productive. And so I just want to say, I really appreciate that you guys are doing this. I'm curious if you're going to increase the frequency of them and start to roll them out, in more areas and more often.
Well,
yeah.
Is that a question?
That's a question. I mean, is this thing just rolling? Are you gonna continue to just like push it out further and further?
Yeah. Yes. Case in point. I mean, even just speaking with just the annual event, this is the 5th one, and we used to have it. Like Unpub 1 started in like a church meeting hall. Unpub 2 was in an FOP lodge, which is the Fraternal Order of Police. And then Unpub 3 and 4 we had in a high school cafeteria. And now Unpub 5 we moved to the Baltimore Convention Center. So that already like kind of shows that we're getting the popularity and the attention that we can move to a larger venue and be able to hold it. I mean, granted, we don't have the main convention hall, but we will one day, and I'm very confident in that. But with that said, we've had our presence at conventions is starting to step up. So last year we've been invited to PAX East, and that's happening again this year. Cool. And then we're at Origins. We'll be at Gen Con this year. We run the Proto Alley at BGG-Con for the last 2 years, and we'll be running it again this coming year. We've also, actually as of yesterday, we're invited to the Phoenix Comic-Con to run an Unpub there. And so it's nice. Like, we're getting the attention to be at more and more conventions, and that's cool. But now we're also trying to push what we call Unpub Minis, which, Chris, that's probably what you were at,
right? Yeah,
because they're at a game store typically, and it kind of just brings the designers into the game store. It's a nice little, kind of commercialization for the game store a little bit, because their name gets advertised for everything, because that's where the event's at. And those have started to pick up speed, where in years past it was just on the East Coast, then it kind of moved out west. Now we've had some in Canada and England, and now in Australia, all within the past year.
It's really starting to spread.
So everything's starting to spread out. So yeah, it's steadily growing, and it's kind of why TC. I mean, he's not just here to stuff bags. He's kind of become my right-hand guy, more or less, with everything Unpub. So I run a lot of stuff through him and get his feedback on. So it's too much for just one person to handle anymore. So yeah. I'm sure by the end of this year we're going to have a regular team that's just focused on working on Unpub in their free time.
Wow. Okay. Cool.
Hey, sorry, can you guys actually hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've lost the feed. I dropped out, and I don't think I control the vertical or the horizontal anymore. So we're just running. We're running rogue now. We're going deep.
Last time this happened, it randomly crashed like 10 minutes later, and we kept shooting. We didn't know, so just keep an eye on the live button, everyone.
Yeah.
And when we see that live button disappear, then we stop and we tell everyone the new link. But still then, 10 flies in the blind.
Yeah.
It's still yellow.
So I got a question for TC. TC.
Yeah.
Seeing as you have become the basic right-hand man of Mr. Louder, what does he have you doing in order to get Unpub ready? No, what does it take to get Unpub ready? You might know actually more than Darrel does right now.
I think it's probably better if I answer that question anyway, because Darrel's super nice, and he's always super nice to a fault, and he doesn't tell anybody what's actually going on because there's so much going on.
Right.
So behind the scenes, at least for getting ready for Unpub 5, first Darrel had to secure a location, which, I mean, last year they ran a Kickstarter for Unpub, and it was the first time we actually went out of the way to gain more funding than just, hey, show up, buy a table, right? That was really the funding that we had. This year definitely needed that, because that was the kick that both got more publishers involved with the program. We had we've had support from like Eagle Griffin, especially this year. Ad Magic jumped on hugely.
Wow.
As the main sponsor.
Whoa.
Hold up.
I think you muted. Did you mute yourself?
No, I got muted by Darrel.
That was me. Sorry. I don't know. I'm not used to having control. I think
Oh, maybe you are. Maybe you're in control now.
I was tired of what he was saying too. I'm just glad you did it.
Yeah.
I all of a sudden clicked
just
you,
leave
boss.
now. He's listening.
I clicked you,
Yeah,
boss,
let's get-
and all of a sudden it was like, you?
Guy.
Oh, hey, there's
Oh,
Darrell now. What happened? Did you drop out, Darrell?
Yeah, it said TC. It said Darrell Andrews muted PC, and then all of a sudden it just said, connection failed due to browser something, and closed
That's
the window.
awesome. I'm crashing this thing one click at a
I
time.
think something's very odd with this, but we'll figure
man.
it out. I mean,
Sorry,
it's still
back to
live,
your
so we're gonna keep
TC.
going. Back to TC. I mean, somebody needs to put a
Oh,
muzzle
man.
on the guy, right?
Yeah.
Oh, no, I was really into